When Mark Thompson turned 40, life didn't come with a warning label. There were no flashing signs, no thunderous declarations. Just a quiet morning, a lukewarm cup of coffee, and a realization that half of his life had likely passed him by. A devoted father of 2 and a corporate trainer for over 15 years, Mark had always lived on autopilot. Stable, predictable, and carefully curated. But something about that milestone shook him. That same evening, as he stood in front of his bathroom mirror brushing his teeth, he stared into his own eyes. "What now?" he whispered. The question wasn't rhetorical anymore. It wasn't just about surviving the days. It was about making sure that the next phase of his life wouldn't be riddled with regret. The following weekend, Mark drove up to visit his old mentor, Howard Gibson, a retired psychology professor who had guided him back in college. Howard was now in his early 70s, living a peaceful life in upstate New York, tending to his vegetable garden, and occasionally lecturing at local libraries. Over coffee and warm banana bread, Mark laid it all out. "Howard, I feel like I missed something in my 30s. Like life is slipping past me, and I haven't figured out how to protect what matters most for the years ahead." Howard, with his usual soft-spoken wisdom, didn't answer immediately. He stood up, walked to his study, and returned with a worn-out leather notebook. "I started writing this when I turned 40, he said. "It's not advice. It's more like lessons I learned, sometimes the hard way. They're rules I made for myself to make sure the second half of my life was intentional." Mark spent the night reading it. Each page opened a window to understanding. They weren't rules in the rigid sense. They were principles, lived truths, experiences turned into insight. He saw reflections of his own missed chances, ignored health warnings, frayed relationships, and unchecked ambitions. But he also saw hope. There was a pattern of resilience, recovery, and rediscovery. Something inside him shifted. In the weeks that followed, Mark began crafting his own life rules, weaving them from Howard's writings and his personal revelations. Not to restrict himself, but to liberate his life from clutter. Mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Every day he focused on one small idea. Soon those ideas built new habits. Those habits created a new path. He began waking up earlier. Not just to get more done but to start each day on his terms. He went on long walks without his phone, learning to listen to the wind, the birds, and even his thoughts again. He rekindled his passion for sketching, something he hadn't done since college. He started spending intentional time with his kids, not multitasking or lecturing, just being with them. One rule that stuck with him early on was this: your body will either serve you or enslave you. Choose which one it will be. So he began eating better. No dramatic diet shifts, just conscious choices. Fewer processed foods, more water, moderate movement. He found a small fitness group in his neighborhood led by a retired Marine named Greg who was also over 40 and believed in strength from the inside out. Another life rule that reshaped his relationships read: love isn't maintenance. It's mindfulness. Mark had always assumed that staying in touch with friends or expressing love to his wife, Diane, was enough if it happened naturally. But natural turned out to mean rarely. He started sending weekly texts to old college friends, writing handwritten notes to Diane, and leaving voice memos for his kids when he traveled. Financially, Mark had always been cautious. But now he understood the importance of planning beyond himself. He revised his will. He looked into life insurance policies. He met with a financial advisor who taught him something crucial. After 40, every dollar should have a job. Wandering money leads to wandering futures. He wrote that one down. As the months passed, Mark shared his journey on a small blog he started anonymously, calling it The 40 Forward. To his surprise, hundreds of people, mostly men and women in their 40s and 50s, began commenting, thanking him for putting into words the quiet desperation they had felt. Soon, he began writing with more purpose, outlining the rules that had transformed his life. Some were deceptively simple, like, drink water before coffee, keep your promises to yourself, buy shoes that don't hurt your back, never stop learning. Others dug deeper. Heal the father wound. Let go of friendships that make you feel smaller. Say yes to solitude. Say no to drama. Make peace with your past, or it will demand rent in your future. By the time Mark was 43, he had filled his own notebook. Not a copy of Howard's, but a legacy of his own. One rule per page. Some with stories attached. Some just a sentence that cut straight to the soul. He was invited to speak at a local community center one day, and his talk, 100 Life Rules That Will Protect Your Future After 40, was an unexpected success. People stayed afterward for hours, sharing their own experiences, adding their own rules to his growing collection. What made his message different wasn't its brilliance, it was its authenticity. Mark wasn't trying to be a guru. He was a man who got tired of drifting, tired of wondering when life would really begin. His rules weren't gospel. They were lifelines. One of the most emotional moments came when his son, Ethan, now 17, stumbled upon Mark's notebook and read through it. He left a sticky note on one page that read, "I didn't know you went through all this, Dad. Thanks for doing the work so we don't have to start from scratch." That moment was worth everything. Some rules turned into routines. Others became values. Like don't gossip. It poisons your character, and forgive fast but protect your peace. Some helped him walk away from toxic work environments. Others helped him build new friendships in his neighborhood. By 45, Mark felt younger than he had at 35. Not because he avoided aging but because he embraced it. He no longer chased youth. He chased clarity. And clarity, he discovered, is the sharpest tool for building a life that lasts. Diane noticed the difference too. "You're lighter," she once said while they walked under a golden autumn sky. "Not physically, but emotionally. Like your soul doesn't carry as much." Mark smiled. "I guess I finally realized that life after 40 isn't the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the real." He never stopped adding to his rules. By his 50th birthday, the notebook had grown into 3 volumes. He was invited to turn them into a book. He hesitated at first. Writing for strangers felt strange. But when he thought of all the people who messaged him saying they started walking again, talking again, dreaming again, he knew it wasn't about him. He titled the book Rules for the Road Ahead, Life Lessons After 40. It became more than a publication. It became a movement. Book clubs, support groups, podcasts, all rooted in the idea that life after 40 isn't about holding on to the past, but about building a better future with intention. And in every talk he gave, every interview he did, he always ended with the same message.